Hey Raptors fans, this is Brian. Just figured I'd try out a little video here, just giving some feedback on the playoffs. It's been fun and stressful to watch at times, but we're going into Game 3, tied 1-1, so that's always good news. This is a really good matchup with Indiana. It's a fun series to watch. Indiana's a physical team, and this is going to be a grinded out series, so it's definitely right up there um, with how the Raptors can play. They like to grind it out as well. Just a couple random thoughts about the game and what we've seen in the first two games. Obviously, the struggle of DeMar DeRozan is obvious, but we don't got to worry too much about that. He'll get out of his funk, but in the meantime, we have the beast mode of Valanciunas out there, just killing it in the paint, which is that's how the Raptors are going to have to I think play this round to beat the Pacers, is to really just battle in the paint and constantly attack the rim. What I've really liked seeing with the Raptors so far is the consistency, and it's coming from Valanciunas and Corey Joseph. Those are the two most consistent players over the last two games. Lowry's adapted in game two to kind of looking for other people, even though he wasn't scoring. Um, you know, Casey had to bench DeRozan in the fourth, just because it wasn't his game, and he's gonna have his game, hopefully sooner than later. But in the meantime, I think the Raptors need to continue doing what's working, which is putting the ball in the paint with JV. Um, you know, he and Joseph are the leading scorers for the Raptors for the last two games, both averaging about 17 points a game. And they're not the top two scorers, during the regular season. So it's interesting to see, when some players struggle, other players need to step up, and that's certainly the case over the first two games here. Um, we obviously have to talk about Paul George. He's been killing the Raptors in game one. He averages 23 a game in the regular season, and he put up 33 in game one. And I was watching that, and I was thinking, oh my God, this is Joe Johnson circa 2014. But luckily, we tried to limit him a little bit more in game two. He still finished with 28, so he's averaging 30 a game against us already. And he and Monte Ellis are the leading scorers for the Pacers, in the postseason and the regular season. So the way the Pacers have been trying to clamp down on DeMar and Kyle is, that's how the Raptors are going to have to try and clamp down on Paul George and Monte Ellis. And I think a good option to perhaps try out in Game 3 or in other games in this series defensively, trying to stop Paul George, would be to insert James Johnson into the game. He's a large player. He's the size of LeBron James, obviously not as strong and without saying as talented, but he's 6'9", 250. He's got like 30 pounds on Paul George. He'd be able to put a body on him and play some really good defense there. He wouldn't as easily be backed down by Paul George if he's trying to back down his defender and get like a mid-range jump shot over a smaller defender. James Johnson would be able to, put a body on him and, contest that shot. So, I would like to see, James Johnson maybe come off the bench, maybe a little less DeMar Carroll. Don't get me wrong, I love DeMar Carroll. He's the absolute perfect personality for the Raptors. He, puts on his hard hat and goes to work. He's such a humble guy being in the NBA, and, his work ethic is through the roof. But the fact of the matter is that he missed 56 games this season, and he just returned, several games before the end of the regular season. So he's going to take some adjustment, and like obviously, no matter how much he's been practicing with the team, or doing the conditioning and training, when he wasn't playing, like obviously he's still in shape and feels good and fit, absolutely. But once there's a tip off and you're in game scenario, you kind of got to get back into the rhythm of things. And I was surprised, honestly, to see him in the starting lineup in game two. And I see what Casey was trying to do there, knowing that Kyle and DeMar were struggling there in the first game. So you want to insert him and try to get some offense from him, but he just hasn't played in so long. He looked a little rusty out there. I mean, he had a few good plays, made a good backdoor cut for a layup, but he picked up some quick fouls, and I think he finished the game with like maybe 4 or so. So I think going from not playing 56 games and then all of a sudden first round of the playoffs, like it's a big adjustment, and he still needs to kind of get comfortable on the court again. So, I would still like to see him be played and get some minutes and play some defense. But I think if we're going to try and stop the Pacers' leading scorer in Paul George, I think getting a big defensive body on him in a physical matchup with James Johnson would benefit the Raptors with him coming off the bench and given a shot at it. Hey, if it doesn't work out and Paul George lights him up, then all right, then work your way down the list and like see what you can do. But personally, I think I would give that a shot in Game 3 to try and shut down Paul George for sure. What else I can talk about? Biyombo, it was really really great watching him play. He's another guy that we sorely missed in the playoffs last year. He's out there. He knows he's not out there for his offensive game. He's out there to play defense, get rebounds, block shots, alter shots. And even in the last game, down the stretch, he was getting fouled and hitting his free throws. I don't know what he finished with, but I remember him going 4 for 5 from the line down the stretch. Maybe I missed a trip to the line early in the game or something like that. But either way, he was, for a big fella who's not known for his offensive touch, he was shooting the ball well from the free throw line. So that's always promising, for your bigs. Yeah, so I don't know. It's very interesting to see what's going to come of this series. Indiana's going to be a rough crowd away game. Basketball to Indiana is like hockey to Canada. It's like a religion down there. So Indiana it's going to be a tough game on the road. But I'm still confident in the Raptors in this series overall, kind of winning. So we'll just see if they split the series in Indiana or hey, fingers crossed, get the 2 wins down there. But either way, it's going to be a physical matchup on all games or for both teams. Sorry. So we'll just see how it unfolds. I think with what we need to do is focus on shutting down Monte Ellis and Paul George, just like the Pacers are focusing on our 2 top scorers. Monte Ellis is a streaky shooter, but when he gets going, and it's kind of scary how quickly he can get down the floor and put up points on us. Like you look away from him and he's driving to the basket and doing something like that. I think that's really about all I had to say. I'm not looking to go in any great depth conversation here. Just some couple comments from the game that I liked. I know the Raptors, love perimeter shots and taking threes, but I really think this series is going to be won in the paint, and we need to continue to do that. And eventually, if the Pacers start collapsing on JV, and then hey, now the perimeter's wide open for those guys to hit those shots out there. So I think overall, like we're in a good position right now. Pacers, they're coming out swinging. Of course, they're the underdog. But the Raptors really need to kind of go out there and put them in their place because we've set a franchise record with wins this season, and we have a lot of proof from the last year's playoffs, and all these players have a chip on their shoulder, and rightfully so. So I think it'll be pretty good, and I'm really excited to see JV continue on this path that he's going on. He's been playing really well for the second half of the season. I don't know if he's just feeling more confident or he's just getting the ball more, or I don't know something awakened in him lately, and he's just doing very well. I've always been a JV fan. This is he's my personal guy. I just think so much of the league is going to small ball and threes. But at the end of the day, if you have a good, strong center that's mouse in the house, then go for it, right? And I think that's some teams might lack that, and that's Raptors can take advantage of that. especially with Pacers. He seems to be having his way with the younger centers on the Pacers team, and he's just gobbling up rebounds like, I don't know, something you gobble up, apples. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, he's doing great, and I think we're going to see the progression of him throughout these playoffs. And it's also good to know that Kyle and DeMar, they're not going to be in this slump for very long. Like, look, watch Thursday night. DeMar might go off. Maybe in a away game we'll get him fired up or something. I don't know. It's just it's good to know that how poorly he's played over the last 2 games, it still went 1-1, and it's just I think we're in a kind of good position. So we'll just see how Game 3 goes, and then the other games after that. So I hope you guys are enjoying the playoffs. I'm loving them. Yeah, would love to let's comment. I know we're all impassioned fans on online, and there's a lot of opinions being thrown around, and these are just mine. So feel free to put in your 2 cents, as it were. So yeah, until next time, enjoy the game. All right.